Netflix beat Meghan Markle from the project? It was the headline that stormed through tabloids and gossip blogs, painting an image of corporate rejection, a glamorous duchess ousted from her own media empire. The narrative was simple, explosive, and viral. But like most things involving Meghan Markle, the truth is layered in strategy, timing, and controlled silence. The infamous multi-year deal, once touted at a staggering $100 million, is quietly approaching its conclusion by the fall of 2025. Neither Netflix nor the Sussexes have confirmed the precise financials, but that hasn't stopped the press from speculating, inflating, and framing it as one of the grandest collapses in celebrity brand partnerships. But behind the headlines, a different story is emerging. Sources close to the negotiations reveal that while the mega deal structure is indeed ending, Meghan is already in active talks with Netflix on a new separate content agreement tailored solely around her personal lifestyle brand. The next installment of With Love, Meghan Season 2 is reportedly deep in post-production and slated for a fall 2025 release under a new deal structure far removed from the high-profile Sussex joint contract. It's not a breakup, it's a restructuring, but public perception doesn't like gray areas. For royalists and critics, this was an irresistible narrative the Duchess once celebrated for breaking free from royal constraints, now portrayed as losing her Hollywood leverage. The headline screamed drop deal, terminated Netflix, rejects, Meghan. But those in the industry understood a more pragmatic shift at play. Netflix has been pivoting away from large multi-project celebrity mega deals. The economic pressures of content saturation coupled with underperforming projects, including several linked to the Sussexes, forced a strategic realignment. The platform no longer wants to be locked into expansive long-term contracts. Instead, they are moving toward project-by-project flexibility. A Netflix content executive speaking off the record summarized it. The Sussex deal was never about permanent brand partnerships. It was a trial balloon to test audience resonance. Meghan's lifestyle lane has potential, but not in the mega deal framework. We're optimizing. In simpler terms, Netflix isn't beating Meghan out. They're streamlining. And Meghan, known for her narrative acumen, is quietly recalibrating to maintain control of her personal brand narrative. But the optics, they're messy. The lack of an official joint statement from Netflix and Meghan has left a vacuum filled by speculation. Without a clear-cut mutual separation announcement, media outlets default to the most clickable interpretation: rejection. Yet the most telling sign that this is not a hard split is that With Love, Meghan Season 2 is moving forward. The project remains in Netflix's upcoming content lineup, albeit under a smaller, more focused agreement that reflects a shift from joint Sussex ventures to Meghan-led storytelling. So did Netflix beat Meghan from the project? Not exactly, but neither side is rushing to correct the narrative. Because in the battle of public perception, silence can be as strategic as a press release. But as insider leaks reveal Meghan negotiating a solo content path while deliberately removing the Sussex brand tag from her new projects, the real power struggle becomes clear. It's no longer about a contract, it's about who controls the next chapter of the narrative. For years, the $100 million Netflix deal between Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, and the streaming giant was held up as a symbol of their post-royal independence. But was it ever truly that simple? Behind the glamorous headlines, insiders reveal that the figure so often quoted was largely speculative, an inflated amalgamation of projected production costs, potential bonuses, and marketing spend. The actual cash-in-pocket figure, according to multiple sources, was significantly less direct. Yet the $100 million narrative was too irresistible for media outlets to resist evolving into a symbol of Meghan and Harry's new media empire. But now, as the original deal quietly approaches its end, the lack of a renewal has ignited a frenzy of narratives, many of them misleading. Royal commentators quickly seized on the expiration, framing it as a decisive rejection by Netflix, a sign that the platform had grown tired of underwhelming projects and Sussex drama. The headlines were swift and brutal. Netflix dumps, Meghan and Harry, mega deal. Crumbles in embarrassment, no renewal, no future. Yet behind closed doors, the mood was far less scandalous. Netflix, grappling with an evolving content strategy post-pandemic, has been shifting away from massive multi-project celebrity deals across the board. The Sussexes partnership was always designed as a trial engagement meant to test various content lanes, from docuseries like Harry and Meghan, to lifestyle ventures like With Love, Meghan, to philanthropic projects such as Heart of Invictus. Some projects performed respectably, others failed to meet Netflix's sky-high engagement metrics. But none of this amounted to a catastrophic fallout. Instead, it reflected a mutual understanding that the mega deal structure no longer served either party. A Netflix strategy consultant explained, "We're moving toward modular content partnerships. It's not about rejecting talent, it's about reframing how we collaborate in a more agile, results-driven way." Meanwhile, Meghan's team recognized the shifting landscape and began repositioning her narrative. Rather than clinging to the Sussex joint brand, Meghan has been strategically building her own vertical, rooted in lifestyle content, product collaborations, and personal branding independent of Harry's royal lineage. The tension lies not in a fiery contract termination, but in the battle to own the narrative of the exit. Royalists eagerly frame it as a defeat, Netflix cutting off Meghan. Meghan's camp subtly counters by highlighting her ongoing solo negotiations, quietly implying that she's pivoting by choice, not necessity. But with no joint statement, the public perception is left in limbo, open to interpretation and exploitation. Adding complexity, industry analysts have pointed out that Meghan's With Love, Meghan Season 2 is still in production, and sources indicate that it will be released under a different contractual structure, reflecting Netflix's new content model. Yet the headlines continue to scream, beaten out, ignoring the nuance of a strategic pivot that both parties are orchestrating behind the scenes. The problem, in the court of public opinion, silence is rarely interpreted as strength. But what truly raised eyebrows was a leaked internal document revealing Meghan's explicit request, do not brand Season 2 under the Sussex Productions banner. A quiet move that signals an even bigger shift. She's no longer negotiating as half of a duo, but as a solo architect of her brand. For months, the media narrative was fixated on a singular image, Meghan Markle being dropped by Netflix, cast aside as the Sussex megadeal quietly faded into oblivion. But as new information emerged, that narrative began to unravel. It turns out Meghan wasn't being sidelined, she was strategically disentangling herself. Leaked production documents and insider reports reveal a subtle but calculated shift. Meghan, long seen as half of the Sussex duo, is now carving out her own independent content path, deliberately decoupling her personal brand from the shared Sussex Productions identity. The clearest sign, a confidential memo from Meghan's team submitted to Netflix's content division, explicitly requested that Season 2 of With Love Meghan not carry the Sussex Productions branding. Instead, it would fall under a new yet-to-be-revealed production label aligned solely with Meghan's lifestyle ventures. This wasn't a demotion, it was a brand divorce. A senior content strategist at Netflix elaborated, "What's happening isn't a firing, it's a segmentation. Meghan wants to own her lane without the royal baggage attached. Netflix is open to that because it fits their modular approach moving forward." While public discourse was busy speculating about Meghan's loss of power, the real power play was unfolding behind closed doors. Meghan's pivot is designed to position her not as a duchess turned content creator, but as a lifestyle entrepreneur with a media platform of her own making. Gone are the days when Sussex was the primary brand currency. Meghan is building a new narrative where the royal association becomes an optional footnote, not a defining label. This strategic detachment explains the shifting dynamics of current negotiations. Meghan's team is not pushing for another all-encompassing mega deal. Instead, they are focusing on micro-partnerships, content ventures that align with her personal lifestyle brand as ever, which now extends into product lines, affiliate monetization, and curated influencer collaborations. One insider close to Meghan's camp described it as narrative triage. The Sussex brand served its purpose in launching post-royal visibility. Now Meghan's priority is long-term autonomy, building a scalable brand where her identity isn't filtered through royal drama. This shift also explains why Prince Harry has been notably absent from recent content discussions. While Meghan leans into consumer-facing ventures, Harry's focus has veered back toward philanthropic initiatives and lower-profile legacy work. For Netflix, this isn't a rejection, it's an evolution. A confidential strategy paper from Netflix's executive board outlined a dual-stream content approach, where former mega-deal partners like Meghan would transition into project-specific collaborators. The aim: flexibility, efficiency, and reduced risk. But public perception is a different beast. Because from the outside, a quiet pivot is often misinterpreted as a fall from grace. The lack of joint press releases, coupled with the Sussex Productions name quietly fading from Meghan's projects, has allowed critics to control the narrative vacuum. The twist is glaring. What looks like a breakup is actually a pivot initiated not by Netflix, but by Meghan herself. Her team's demand to detach With Love Meghan from the Sussex label wasn't born from rejection, it was born from strategic clarity. But as the headlines continue to focus on Netflix's decision, the real power move is that Meghan has reclaimed the right to define her narrative terms, even if it means sacrificing the comfort of a mega deal safety net. And yet, as Meghan silently reshapes her empire, whispers emerge that Netflix is developing a new lifestyle series, one that mirrors Meghan's concept but without her name attached. The question looms, is Netflix testing life beyond Meghan, or is Meghan outsmarting the game by moving first? The Netflix mega deal with Meghan and Harry may have quietly expired, but the strategic maneuvers on both sides are anything but quiet behind the scenes. As Meghan's team accelerates her solo pivot, a new and unexpected twist emerges. Netflix is actively developing a lifestyle series eerily similar to With Love Meghan, but this time without her name attached. Industry insiders describe the project as a scalable lifestyle content hub, focusing on curated living, intentional wellness, and aspirational home aesthetics. Sound familiar? It should. These are the exact pillars upon which, with love, Meghan was built. But Meghan's absence from the project is conspicuous. Sources within Netflix deny that this is a deliberate replacement, instead framing it as a strategic response to audience demand, yet the optics are unavoidable. Netflix is testing whether the Meghan formula can succeed without Meghan herself. This development raises uncomfortable questions. Was Meghan's exit from the Sussex mega deal a proactive pivot? Or did Netflix subtly maneuver her out of the ecosystem while retaining her content model? One executive close to the situation offered a candid take. Netflix isn't interested in personal brands with volatile narratives. They want content models that can be replicated, scaled, and detached from any one personality. For Meghan, this represents both a challenge and an opportunity. On one hand, Netflix's move signals a shift in leverage. Without the protection of a mega deal, Meghan's influence over platform dynamics is diminished. But on the other, by distancing herself from the Sussex Productions label and focusing on her as-ever brand, Meghan is positioning herself as a free agent capable of forging partnerships on her own terms outside the restrictive structures of Hollywood studios. The true battle isn't about one show or one deal. It's about narrative ownership. While Netflix streamlines its content slate for scalability, Meghan is betting on authenticity and niche audience loyalty. Her strategy hinges on monetizing her image through direct-to-consumer models, affiliate-driven commerce, curated product lines, and micro-content partnerships that bypass traditional media gatekeepers. But the dual narrative war is undeniable. Netflix wants the with love Meghan formula without the Meghan baggage. Meghan wants to shed the Sussex co-brand to build her own lane of influence, free from platform dictates. Both moves are strategic. Both are about control. Adding fuel to the fire, internal communications leaked from Netflix's content team hinted at the development of a lifestyle vertical expansion plan, a roadmap designed to replicate influencer-driven content without long-term personality contracts. The plan includes modular partnerships, short-term licensing, and influencer rotation models. For Meghan, this signals a harsh reality. She must now prove that her influence isn't tethered to Netflix's distribution muscle. Her brand needs to stand on its own narrative, intact, audience engaged. But there's a twist within the twist. Despite the media's narrative of rejection, Meghan's solo negotiations for specific content projects are reportedly ongoing. She isn't out, she's shifting. The difference. This time she's dictating the terms project by project, not deal by deal. Meanwhile, Prince Harry's presence in content discussions has all but evaporated. His focus has veered entirely toward humanitarian work, leaving Meghan as the sole architect of her media future. For the public, this nuanced chess game has been overshadowed by clickbait headlines. But for media insiders, it's clear Meghan is transitioning from mega deal celebrity to independent media entrepreneur. It's a high-risk, high-reward pivot. But as Netflix silently builds a Meghan-inspired content universe without her, and Meghan crafts her own independent empire, one question remains: is this a masterclass in mutual evolution or the beginning of a Cold War where both sides quietly try to outlast the other? The headlines declared a knockout, but in truth, the saga between Meghan Markle and Netflix is not a story of rejection. It's a case study in strategic disentanglement. What started as a high-profile mega deal symbolizing Meghan and Harry's post-royal independence has quietly morphed into a power play of controlled separation. Netflix recalibrating its content strategy to favor scalable, personality-flexible formats no longer wants to be tethered to volatile celebrity narratives. Meghan, on the other hand, has realized that true brand power doesn't come from platform deals, but from owning the narrative on her own terms. As the Sussex Productions label fades into the background, Meghan is carving a new lane project by project, deal by deal, fully aligned with her personal brand as ever. No longer constrained by the expectations of joint ventures, Meghan is embracing a leaner, more direct approach, building a content commerce hybrid where every video product and collaboration feeds back into her own ecosystem. Netflix, meanwhile, is already testing the waters with Meghan-inspired formats, banking on the concept without the complexities of personal brand politics. It's a delicate standoff. Neither side wants public conflict. Both want to maintain an aura of strategic sophistication. Yet beneath the surface, a quiet contest brews who will control the narrative of the next chapter. Will Netflix modular lifestyle content thrive without Meghan's name? Or will Meghan's pivot to independent entrepreneurship outshine the platform that once amplified her? For Harry, the chapter seems to be closing. His role in media deals is diminishing, his focus returning to legacy-driven philanthropy. The Meghan Netflix story is now her battle alone. But for Meghan, the next moves are pivotal. She's wagering that the fame economy no longer belongs to platforms. It belongs to individuals who can monetize niche loyalty and narrative authenticity. By turning away from massive platform deals and focusing on own flexible brand channels, she's betting on her ability to outlast the current wave of PR noise. Yet Netflix's quiet maneuver developing Meghan-adjacent content without her involvement could either be a bluff or a bold play to demonstrate that format outlives personality. In the end, this isn't a story of who got dropped. It's a story of who adapts better. Do you believe Meghan's pivot is a bold power move toward brand independence? Team architect, or is Netflix's calculated restructuring the ultimate power play, proving no personality is indispensable? # Team Netflix power play. Drop your verdict below. # Team architect. Meghan's building long-term control, playing the solo game on her own terms. # Team Netflix power play. Netflix is evolving smarter, proving the brand always outlasts the face.